Did the Chiefs win the game or did the Bills lose the game? And the arrow is pointing at Buffalo. They lost the game. The better story isn't losing locker room. I've got Presidential Suite, Book of Legends, and Chicken Fertilizer. And we'll connect all of this together, and it's like a corn maze. We'll see where it leads. Now, first of all, this particular game, slugfest, right? The entire weekend was made up of, last weekend was stinkers. But every game lived up to the hype and exceeded the hype. Kansas City versus Buffalo, the final game, as we said. And it came down to overtime before it was decided. And it was like an old-fashioned staring contest. And even though it looked like Kansas City had blinked, it turns out that the Buffalo Bills, flinched first. And more importantly, they flinched last, and that's why they lost the game. So they need to go into the medical chest. Sean McDermott's team is guilty of premature celebration. And we sell a pill for that. Now, my goodness. They were jumping up and down. It was bedlam on the sidelines. I saw it. Did you see it? I saw it. I'm sitting on my ass watching the game on TV. The coaches are jumping up and down. The players are going crazy. They feel like they won the game. And the math would say they had won the game. They were starting to smell themselves. They jumped the gun a little bit. And even though it seems mathematically improbable, that left the door open for Kansas City, and they ended up taking a wrecking ball to Buffalo's hopes and dreams. And it turns out that the Bills had reservations in the Presidential Suite at the Heartbreak Hotel. You've got to play the full 60 minutes plus if you go to overtime. The Bills were really good for 59 minutes and 47 seconds. And then they were really bad after that. And that's why they lost the game. All right, now secondly, is it true? Is it true that Patrick Mahomes maintains his lead over Josh Allen in the race for the king of the younger generation of quarterbacks? And I am nodding my head yes. To the victor goes the spoils. That's how this works, right? I'm told that by everyone who's come before me, that if you win, that's how that works. So listen up. Listen, Josh Allen played much better than even I expected. This game was the epitome of both quarterbacks bobbing and weaving all over the field. Maestros playing quarterback. Allen was matching Mahomes blow for blow, body blow, and then Mahomes would come back, body blow. Now, in defeat, Josh Allen had a really sexy stat line. 329 yards, 4 touchdowns, all to some guy named Gabriel Davis. Never heard of him. But he also added Josh Allen, 68 yards on the ground. Unfortunately for Allen, his defense and special teams collectively let him down. I don't know how Leslie Frazier is going to get a head coaching job, the Bills defensive coordinator, after this little escapade. The Patrick Mahomes show will now play, as we said, 4 straight AFC title game, all at Arrowhead against the Bengals. Mahomes, it's close. The gap has closed, but Mahomes is still a few whiskers ahead of Josh Allen, and he added another chapter to his growing book, right? We're in the legend building situation. This is the book of legends, the myths, the fairy tales of Patrick Mahomes, and you can add this one to football folklore. If Kansas City goes on to win the Super Bowl, the story of this comeback in the divisional round will be passed down through the generations. The NFL's 13-second man. Well, I said the other day I'm a 2-minute man, but the 13-second man, that's even worse or better, depending how you look at it, because of the negligence, though. How did the Chiefs win this game? Yeah, they made some great plays, but it was negligence by the Bills' special teams and by the defense in Buffalo. They're the ones that screwed this up royally. I'm going to hold your hand and walk you through it, explain why they left the door open. Now, the big mistake on special teams was having Tyler Bass kicked the ball through the end zone for a touchback. Having Bass kick the ball through the end zone for a touchdown was a fatal mistake, as it turned out. He said, well, it's 13 seconds, the game's over. Shoulda, coulda forced the Chiefs to return the kick. So, no, why wouldn't you do that? The only reason you wouldn't do that if you're the Bills is you think you're going to give a kickoff return for a touchdown or give up 40-something yards. That normally doesn't happen in the National Football League. So running precious seconds off the clock, if you kick off and force the Chiefs to return the kick, even if it only lasts, let's say, 4 seconds, all of a sudden 13 to 9 seconds is a big gap. They didn't do that. Kansas City was able to preserve the clock, and they had all their timeouts. They didn't even use the third timeout. That's how crazy this was. Patrick Mahomes mobilized and militarized at the end, and he turned to the intercontinental ballistic missiles. Tyreek Hill for 19 yards, Travis Kelce for 25 yards, a zip and a zag, and all of a sudden you're at the Buffalo 31-yard line, and Harrison Buckner did not choke, did not blow it. He kicked a 49-yard field goal to tie the game, and then they go to overtime. So before Mahomes won the coin toss, and you're like, well, it could go either way, blah, 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 blah. Well, Mahomes wins the coin toss. Kansas City goes on an 8-play, 75-yard game-winning drive, finds Travis Kelce for the 8-yard touchdown, and now the Chiefs get ready for Joe Burrow and Cincinnati in the AFC title game, but it was not possible. It would not have happened for Patrick Mahomes if it had not been made possible by a series of mistakes. Now, they all seem kind of minor. They all seem kind of minor for Buffalo, but collectively, woo-wee, man, what stinks? That's the Bills. All right, final thought. So we have been inundated already. I just checked my inbox before the top of the hour here. We've been inundated with, this is not fair. The Bills got screwed. So thumbs up or thumbs down. Did the overtime rules undermine the joy of NFL divisional round weekend? So I'm going thumbs down. And as far as the overtime rules, everyone's complaining, griping right now in Buffalo, and Bills fans are raging. They're spitting fire because they never got the ball in overtime. Now, I have an unpopular opinion on this. Okay, defense, last I checked, is part of football. The NFL is trying to get rid of defense, but it is still part of football. And my position is the NFL should not change the overtime rules. Do not be reactionary. Do not be a prisoner of the moment here. Allow the Bills Mafia to have a conniption fit. Let them pound the table, bunch of fussy babies. But it's ludicrous to consider, oh, we gotta change the overtime rules. We gotta move this thing right. No, the sudden death NFL overtime format we know today was established back in 2010, and it gives both teams, as we know, those of us who watch these games, it gives both teams the opportunity to possess the ball at least once in overtime, unless, read the fine print. This is the key. Unless the team that receives the overtime kickoff scores a touchdown on its first possession, or if there's a safety, which I don't think's ever happened. But everyone agreed when they changed the rule in 2010, you don't want to lose on a field goal. You do not want to lose on a field goal. And that would be chicken fertilizer. And whatever you do, you want to avoid and prevent the chicken fertilizer ending. And so the NFL did that. They worked out a deal. It used to be, back in the old days, back in the Bronze Age, that a team would come down, win the coin toss, they'd complete a few passes, kick a field goal, win the game. Well, now if you do that, the other team gets the ball, which is a nice way to do things. At the same time, if you don't tackle anyone and your defense is so incompetent that you allow the other team to come down and score a touchdown, you deserve to lose the game, and you don't deserve to have the ball. Buffalo gets to wear the dunce cap. Now, play some damn defense. 13 seconds left, you win the game. Now, I know we're ripping the special teams, but also on the defense. You were celebrating like you've gone to the Super Bowl, or you don't even go to the Super Bowl if you win this game. You just go to the conference championship game. But the way you were acting is like, oh, we finally got by Kansas City, blah, 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 blah. but play some defense in overtime, and Josh Allen gets the ball. The Chiefs took out a machete to that Buffalo defense, and now the Bills Mafia, they're out looking for vengeance. Right? They can take a number and get in line. This has actually happened. We've been here a while now, and I recall being in here multiple times. We've talked about this. A few years ago, Drew Brees was the hotshot quarterback in New Orleans, and he helplessly witnessed the Minnesota Vikings, of all people, drive down the field for a touchdown in overtime of a playoff game without getting a chance. The same thing happened to the Chiefs against Tom Brady and the Patriots in the AFC Championship game several years ago in Kansas City. We had Super Bowl 51 that ended. That was the TB12 Patriots, who scored on the first possession of the overtime against the Atlanta Falcons, the infamous blown lead game for the Falcons.